All right.
Okay. Hey guys.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
All right,
Hi, hi.
awesome. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 125 of the Hideout. I'm going to be on the Apollo account today as a co-host because we had some technical difficulties last week with bad internet connection. So I may drop off this time, but the spaces won't end. So that's good. But for those of you who haven't been to the Hideout before or seen, what we are building here, every week we've been doing the spaces now, gosh, over 2 years, I think, pretty much every week. We've been discussing Web3 gaming and the Metaverse, all things, and a lot of times we get outside of that even. So excited to have another awesome discussion with some great guests. The Spaces is recorded, and I know a lot of people like to watch the recorded version, but for those of you who are here, we will be having a giveaway at the end of the Spaces, so stay tuned for that. I know we will give more info there. For those of you who don't know about the Satoshiverse, we've been building the Satoshiverse since 2020. It started as a comic blockchain-themed collaboration between ourselves and the infamous Jose Delbo, who was a 70-year artist, and he worked for Marvel and DC Comics. He did everything from Wonder Woman to the Beatles' Yellow Submarine to Batman to Superman, pretty much anything you can think of, he did. And then late in his career, he became an NFT artist, started at the age of 87 doing NFTs. And one of those NFTs was this new superhero named Satoshi the Creator, a superhero based on the infamous Satoshi and what happened after he disappeared. That's where the Satoshiverse began. And then from there, for the last 3 years, we've been building our high fidelity, free to play hack and slash game, Legions 2029. I won't go too deep into that because I've posted a thread at the top of the Spaces where you can see everything that you would need to know about Legions 2029, including our recent Season 2 release. Honestly, the best way is just to get in there. It's free to play. We're not monetizing it in any way right now, so jump in there. We do have some avatar collections that give passive rewards, but if you just want to play the game, if you want to get some cool NFTs, do our battle pass, things like that, jump in. So that's all I'll say on Satoshiverse for now. I am excited to get to our guests who are going to be from all different walks of the space today. So definitely excited. Why don't we start? And I know a few of you jumped on last minute, so we can do some, mic checks and technical stuff and sort out any issues we're having. But why don't we start with our friends at Gamerly, who we just concluded a cool quest with the BGA. Welcome to the Spaces. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello,
Can you
hello.
hear me?
Yes, we hear you perfect.
Yeah, cool. Nice.
So, no, I can't unmute. There we go. Tell us a little bit about Gamerly. Sorry, I forgot to do the intro to the intros. What we'll do is we'll do some quick intros. Tell us about what you're building. Feel free to post anything to the top of the Spaces that you would like if it's illustrative. Yeah, so just feel free to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're building, and then we'll jump into the questions.
Yeah. So on my side, my name is Charles. I am the head of product at Gamerly. So to give you more information about Gamerly, it's an all-in-one application platform that maximizes the video games chances of success. We do that by structuring community engagement from the earliest stage of development through to post-launch, basically. We want to bring players and creators closer together to make this relationship a pillar of success, and also we transform players into supporters, testers, ambassadors, and co-creators.
I love it. Well, I know we had a great experience with the quest that we recently did, and definitely looking into doing more stuff with you guys there. So very excited to have you on and dive into some of these questions. I know we'll be getting into some questions about questing and all that.
Yeah.
So cool. Thank you for the intro. Let's jump over now to Life to App. Welcome to the Spaces.
Hi guys, thank you for having us here. I'm Konstantin. I'm the founder of Life to App. We are building a new AI layer on top of existing online maps like Google Maps that rewards users for activity and helps them to search for products, places, and friends based on their behavior patterns. Imagine Google Maps that rewards you for what you do in real life. You can walk or drive or ride. You can visit stores, cafes, and other places. You can scan QRs there. You can meet your friends. You can study, work, or just stay at home. So we call these mechanics live to earn. So it's much more wider than classic move to earn, because move to earn is really boring. It only counts your steps, and we are trying to engage people 24/7, and we try to reward them and engage them and give them some NFTs and tokens for what they do every day, all day long. So we try to shift Web3 gaming into business paying model. So the business model is where business pays for customers and we share profits for users. If you want customers coming to your store, you can place a QR at the checkout. If you want customers to see a certain place of your website or video, you can place a QR there. So they can say no to ineffective ads. They can pay only for those who scan the QR. So we are building our business model on paid retailers rather than get money from users. So it's free to play. We're trying to engage Web2 users, but we are using Web3 technologies, blockchain under the hood, and we're trying to make integration without any borders, so they don't need to connect their wallets to be more accessible for Web2 users who don't know nothing about crypto. So we try to make new Google Maps for everybody and incentivize them using the app and play at the same time. Because speaking about me, I'm passionate gamer. I love mobile games. I love MMO RPG games, and we try to implement RPG game into real life and place it on a real map. So this is about us. Thank you.
No, that's amazing, and I'm super excited to talk more about this. It's funny, I think people who have been on this spaces before, whenever the topic of AR and kind of the future of gaming come up, my mind always goes to the retail possibilities, the idea that you can walk into a mall and have certain stores in that mall let you go to them, and then maybe if you go to certain different stores, you have a quest, right, and you redeem a coupon of some sort, and maybe you can get a smoothie later. I think that's awesome. And I really do think that's why ultimately AR is going to have a massive boom.
We try to replace classical loyalty system and cashbacks system and turn it into interesting game and give rewards, make it global. So when you visit your local mall and when you travel to another country, you can visit any gas station or a cafe and spend all your points there in another country. So usually it looks local, any loyalty system, but we try to make it global.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I think that's the way to do it. And you touched on another topic that we talk about a lot on the spaces, which is, how do you do these things sustainably? And having a kind of a model where you're working with the retailers and that's where the rev generation is coming from. And then you're kind of distributing that back to the users as, a back-ended crypto, I think is the way it's going to go in the future. I think that's just the future of how we build sustainable models. So sounds like you guys are doing everything right. Excited to dive in a little bit deeper. And as someone who moves around a lot, I think it would be really cool to jump into the app as well. So welcome to the Spaces. Let's go over to a familiar voice on the Spaces, but this time representing the comics and crypto account and team. Spencer, I don't think you need an introduction, but why don't you give one on comics and crypto and for those who may not know?
What is going on, everyone? Are you able to hear me loud and clear?
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. Yeah, well, my name is Spencer. In addition to joining from the comics and crypto account, I'm also the business development manager here with Satoshiverse and Apollo Entertainment. So I am, as Nick said, a normal voice on these spaces. But yeah, today I am joining and representing comics and crypto. And comics and crypto is your source for everything collectible, both digital and physical. We are hardcore collectors, both on the physical and digital side. We collect comic books, trading cards, VHS, kind of everything above on the physical side. And then on the digital side, very excited about licensed digital collectibles. And by that, I mean specifically stuff that is being released by big brands like Marvel, DC, Star Wars. So, big recognizable, collectible brands and things that they're doing in the Web3 space. So really excited about that and kind of bridging the gap between the two. Something I will do real quick is I will pin a tweet to the top of the space. So we're actually running a giveaway right now for a first print Jurassic Park VHS tape that is still sealed in its original packaging. Something very, very cool to have in your collection for anybody who may be interested in getting into VHS collecting. It's a new market that is going to be growing very quickly, very soon, I think. So this giveaway is in collaboration with a partner called the VHS Bible, which is a new resource out there for basically being able to identify, first prints or promos or whatever it may be. But it basically informs your decision making when you're buying in this market, which is something that didn't really exist before. And we're doing a very cool interview with them later today. So if you're around and listening, stick around for that as well.
That's super cool. Has anyone started digitizing VHS as NFTs yet? Is that Courtyard's next move after Pokemon cards?
Fanable is planning
Fanable's
on
doing it. Cool.
Yeah, Fanable's planning on they're currently just doing comics. Yeah, Courtyard is just doing cards. Although I think they may have a big announcement coming out soon that they may be expanding to other categories. But yeah, Fanable is planning to basically digitize all categories of graded collectibles. So it'll be cards, comics, toys, action figures, VHS, video games, kind of everything.
Very nice. Yeah, and then I guess we'll dive into it a little bit more later. But we've seen some recent examples of licensed digital collectibles that were done on Web2 platforms, unfortunately, disappear. And then, we won't go into details or name the platforms, but, it's unfortunate when that happens and just shows if these things are going to stand the test of time, we need more sustainable systems long term for things truly to be collectible. And I think NFTs fill a big gap there. So, let's dive in. So Lau, do you want to take away on anything I missed and then take us into the questions?
Yes, but first I would like to give Spreado their chance to introduce themselves. They just joined.
Yes,
So
I missed them. Okay, yes,
yeah.
let's jump over to them. Please give us a quick introduction of the project, yourselves, tell us what you're building, and then feel free to throw anything up to the top of the spaces that you'd like.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, great. Name is Grigori. We're Spreado. We're a platform that automates outreach on Telegram for Web3 companies. So any Web3 company that engages in any B2B activities pretty much, and likely for that reason uses Telegram as our potential user, our potential client. We've been doing this for a few years now, so we've been in the industry for 2 years. And one of the prominent features about our project is that we have currently the largest database in the world of Web3 decision makers, telegrams, with 260,000 contacts. This is the main intro, and happy to answer any questions or to chat to anybody if you guys have any.
Amazing. Yeah, no, that sounds great. And we've got a pretty diverse panel here today. So I know the topic will jump around a little bit. But what we'll do is we'll start with an everyone question, and then we'll go into some specific questions. But I don't want to front run Lau. Lau, why don't you give us the whole rundown and then take us in?
Hello, everyone. First off, I'll start by saying that I feel very excited being in the Satoshiverse account. I've never had so much like spaces power, and I didn't know that you could put like different like songs and stuff. So this is me very drunk of power right now. Okay, so as Nick said, we will start with an everyone question, and then we will go into individual questions. I will call on someone to start us off, and then you guys can just jump in. No need to like raise your hand or anything. Before I start, I would like to remember to mention that we have a giveaway going on. So if you guys see in the pinned posts, we have a we're live post. So go ahead, retweet that. If you guys want to comment, go for it. And we will choose winner at the end of the space that will win 5 Satoshi's crystals, which is a very important like in-game resource within our game. You can win bits with it, so go for it. Okay, so first question, let's go for comics and crypto to start us off. So, how do you envision the role of digital identity evolving in Web3, from wellness to gaming to real world activities, and what do you think it unlocks for users?
Yeah, thanks for putting me on the spot for the first one, Lau. Appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I think some of the things that I'm excited about is really just to have everything in one place. I mean, I feel like currently, we have logins for, a million different, companies and a million different platforms, and you get a little bit of single sign on with Google or with Facebook or, whatever kind of social platform you're using. But it would be really nice to have kind of everything in one place where you're able to access anything at any time, and you actually have true ownership of it, and makes it very easy for you to be able to, basically lend out your data as needed when you want to, and, have that same level of privacy at the same time, and prevent people from, being able to use your data, when you're not giving out that permission. So I think it just opens up a lot of different opportunities, when it comes to, I guess the financialization of your data and being able to kind of take ownership of it and, get some empowerment around that. But really, I think it's just like the ease of use, when you're kind of in the whole Web3 space. It just would make things a lot easier to have a very, singular identity to access everything. So, I think, for me, I think it just simplifies everything. And so that's something I'm very excited about.
Yeah,
Who else wants to jump?
we are trying to reach the same goal because I believe that everybody of us has a smartphone. You can raise your hands or not, but I'm sure everybody has a smartphone. So the best way to authorize in the app using the smartphone, as there are two main platforms like Android and Apple iOS. So you can use your accounts that already installed in your smartphone. So you just need your Google account or Apple account to authorize to any app, to use any app. And the way we do it, we connect Google account and Apple ID to your wallet. We connect and you can access your assets just using your phone, and it's really simple. It's really safe because we are not making safe due diligence. We rely on Google and Apple, and believe they can do it better than us, like a small team. So the best way is to use your smartphone with already installed your accounts.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit different direction with it, mainly because I think I agree wholeheartedly with the points that were made before about just kind of being able to consolidate everything in one place. I guess for me, we've seen this evolution of just digital personas in the last 5 years with, influencers and, gaming streamers and, just people representing themselves a certain way online. and kind of creating a product out of themselves, and really, the person you are online has become such a big part of the person you are in the real world, whether we like it or not. I feel a lot of pressure myself in real life to be posting about my travels and things like that on Instagram. And I don't do it much. But that's something that, that's a way I constantly connect with others. And that, I think is just a very simple example, whether it's a social media identity, but a lot of people's social media identities are also their job, or how they identify, or, maybe it's a made up persona, like some of these crypto influencers who are definitely one person in real life and then a totally different person when they tweet, and that's intentional, and that's kind of how they're making their buck, right? So I think that, as digital expands, as our capabilities with AR and VR and just the AI asset creation and the, body scanning technology and digital wearables, as all these things really start to proliferate and become more accessible, and AR is part of our daily lives, digital itself is going to be integrated in our daily lives. So beyond the idea of just having a wallet, having a profile that can kind of be separated from your real life persona and exist in this expanding digital world, beyond the convenience factor, I think that there's going to be, a certain degree of kind of to what Spencer was saying about monetizing your data. There's going to be monetizing your persona as well, your digital identity, like we were talking about. And you have I remember when I was in law school a long time ago, I wrote a paper about celebrities who's, in this new age of digital, games and whatnot. There was this wave of questions, legal questions, about what was a digital identity, what was a digital persona, what rights did famous people have in their digital personas. But now, as we start to think about the IP implementations of that, or just the fact that a famous streamer could be AI, right? It could be a human behind an AI that is then, interacting in a certain way. We start to really think how this could expand in very real and very meaningful ways. And I think we're just scratching the surface, honestly, on what digital identities are going to look like. I think, as we start to conceptualize, okay, we're going to have a wallet, we're going to have our stuff in one place, we're going to solve issues like data privacy issues. All this stuff is great. I think 10 years from now, it's going to be weird. And, if we look forward towards that, it's going to be kind of a different world that we're talking about. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. I think it's necessary, but I also think that, we're going to have lots of questions that come up, as these different topics get more developed. Let's see, who else hasn't jumped in yet? Feel free if you have any thoughts on this. Otherwise, we can move on to the individual questions, but I want to give everyone a chance on this one.
You've mentioned about public persona who have to show their life, and I believe it's not so safe, because when you want to separate your work from your private life, when you want to separate and hide your assets, but it's I know there are some cases where crypto influencers were robbed by criminals because they know that the influencers have got some wallets, some assets, and personal. They have to worry about their safety.
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good point. And I think that for me, that's one of the biggest, challenges with crypto, especially with, newer users and this whole mentality about, not your keys, not your crypto. I think that there are roles that custodians play, and that privacy in data and monetary data plays that can be, very risky for people who, are maxis maybe and are keeping all their money on a ledger with a single, point of signing, and then, all of a sudden someone traces back that they bought Bitcoin in 2014. and now they've got a lot of money on that ledger, right? And I think that as AI and data searching technology becomes, like, you could literally do very deep research from one prompt in your phone on a person, it becomes a little scary, the idea that, one tweet could connect a person to, financial information. And I do think, I think about it sometimes just for myself. There's information that's publicly available that I'm sure, people could connect. And, we're doxxed because have always believed that that is important as a project. But I understand why some founders don't want to be doxxed. I mean, in my case, I don't have a ledger with a ton of Bitcoin on it, so they're not going to get much from me. But I think that, the risk is real, and I think that we need to be thinking about those things as we think about digital identity. I think that's a very good point, and I think there still needs to be solutions for that, right? I think we need to start abstracting away some of the more private information, like financial data. I think there's ways of exposing the important stuff without exposing the personally identifying information. All right, cool. Good discussion on that one. Lau, why don't we move into the individual questions?
Yes, sir. Okay, so the question that we have now is for Life2 app. So Life2 app gamifies real world actions in a creative way. How can Web3 be used to incentivize users to do real world actions in an engaging way?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for it. Speaking about me, I've been thinking about gamifying the life process and the working process for several years since since I've been involved in crypto, because I'm working with commercial real estate, and I've got some cases where I want to incentivize my employees, where I want to incentivize my workers, contractors, and I've got knowing idea that there should be a way how to create a task for them and to make the reward for the completed tasks really transparent, because some leader ideas can be not clear for employees, and while they're performing their work, they have to do some actions that maybe not lead to the goal directly, but they have to do this. For example, if my employees renting the building, they have to make photos, videos, they have to place banner outside the building, and I'd like to incentivize them and pay them for completed action. So taking photos really doesn't lead you to the goal, but they have to make this task, and they should feel that completed task will bring them some valuable that they can touch. So in the Life2 app, we implemented the same feature, while for performing daily activities, any activities maybe which is not really valuable, for example, while you are walking, while you are at your home or at work area, it's not obvious for you that why should I be paid? But we reward users for spending time at home, at work, or while they're just driving. But the idea is, the way of monetization is to attract the to attract them to use the app every day, 24/7, and to make their behavior pattern. And after we collect some data based on their behavior, we can implement AI model and to understand what they like to do, what they love, and we can promote products that are really essential for them. So nowadays, advertisements usually trying to push some goods and items that you don't really need. And while you're searching on the internet, you leave some traces. But there is another side of our life, and the other side of our life is our daily activity while we are going for a walk, or while we are driving to a place where we study. So we are trying to gamify all the life process and collect data, but the data is unpersonalized. So we are worrying about privacy, because privacy is really important. And when we build our AI models, we do it unpersonalized. So it doesn't contain your personal data. It's only about your activities that one unit performing some actions, and this unit may be interested in some goods or in some actions or in people doing the same actions, the same activity every day. So we want to give people something valuable that they can touch, that they can interact with. So we are giving rewards, we are giving NFTs for the actions, for performing the activity. And another case that there are a lot of loyalty programs that I used to use because usually when I use gas station, there is some certain loyalty program. I collect points, but suddenly in 1, 2, or 3 years, it happens that that point was erased, or they have changed the loyalty program, and I have to collect my points again. So while we're using Web3 technologies and the blockchain, all that you earned will be yours forever. So if you earned points 5 years ago, it is still your loyalty points. It is still your assets. So the idea is that we provide something valuable for people, and it doesn't matter how long did you earn your reward. You can use it in 5 years, in 10 years, and so on. So this implementation has real world value, and we want let users bring some action into the app and reward them. So as I can see, it's the future, and we can make a product better than Google, because the third case, I was participated in a Google program when Google gave rewards like 100 GB on Google Disk. But I've reached some level. I've became, I don't know, maybe 7th level expert on Google Maps, but they suddenly closed the reward system, and it appears that I received nothing for my efforts while I'm trying to make photos, leave reviews. I received nothing. And it drives me to make something stable, something sustainable, and always for users, for them to use, to believe in the loyalty programs, to believe in collecting some points. So we need to make it stable and sustainable. This is the goal, and real value for the world.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, got the sound box going. I love it. Um, I think, it's really interesting, the model, and like I was saying before, I think there's a couple things to extract from that. I just imagine myself, as someone who walks every day, around the block, does maybe a 20, 30-minute walk a couple times a day. I usually end up walking to a coffee shop, nearby my house with my wife, and getting a coffee and then walking back. And, there's probably 6 to 10 other coffee shops on the way there. And so if had data about the path I take every single day, you could, push ads for those other coffee shops. And maybe I'd say, oh, actually, I want to try that one, or I want to try that one. And so I can see, models where we're doing that sort of thing creates real value. And, I think it's interesting because we talk a lot with a lot of games and just different Web3 projects. And I think one of the most important things when we talk about tokenomics and, what role can a token play in a project's kind of growth and sustainability, I don't think we talk enough about value apart from the token. My thesis and what I've always said is that tokens are excellent means of distributing value, real value, but they don't always create value in and of themselves. And so I think this is a really good example of a model where you can create value through actions and really monetize that value through advertisers or retailers who might be interested in those actions and pushing their advertisements to users or whatever it may be. And then you can use that or part of that, right, to then kick value back to them through a token. And maybe there are some speculative elements or whatever it is. That just depends on the tokenomics model. But ultimately, what's driving the sustainability of that token is real value creation. And I don't think we talk about that enough in this space. I think we're getting to that. I think slowly but surely the Web3 gaming space is getting to that. But it certainly hasn't been kind of the way we've been thinking about, tokens in the Web3 space for the last 3 or 4 years. So it's always refreshing and great to see, models that don't depend necessarily on, price go up to sustain their token and their model long term. So yeah, really really cool what you guys are doing. I'm definitely gonna look into it more for my personal self because I think there's a lot of cool things I would love to do with this app. And knowing that you're not gonna pull the rug like Google did to you is even better. So definitely a very cool story you had. Let's jump back, Lau, if you want to take us into the next question.
Yes. Okay, so the next question is for Gamerly. So, quests and mission based systems are becoming a go to strategy for community engagement. What do you think makes a quest truly effective at retaining players and bringing in new ones?
Yeah, that's a tough question, I think. Well, I think that a good quest system, as we've mentioned before, is needs to be gamifying the events that you want to do. So I will say that the first thing is that you need to make the mechanics that are the most appealing for your community. So for example, if your community is based on Discord, if your community is based on X, depending on where you are, you need to adapt what you're asking to your community. The first thing. The second thing is that you need to be able to provide them for rewards that are the most interesting for them. So it could be NFTs, it could be in-game assets, it could be a special discount on something, and it could also be a way to interact with you or a special access to your game or to your experience. So I think that could be the main ideas or the main things that you need to go to as a quest provider.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, our experience questing on different platforms, the more that quests can be structured, like you said, to have gamification in the quest itself, but also incentives that people actually care about. the more effective they are. And I remember even back in the day, we had this very simple leaderboard bot for our Discord where engagement on our Twitter posts were able to return points for this leaderboard, and this was before Twitter changed their API and became X and all that, and it was easier to do these sorts of things. But we were seeing just tremendous engagement numbers around, compared, way higher than most projects relative to the number of followers that we had. And I think that was a testament to people, if you create a structure where people can kind of get into a routine of support and you give them ways to support you. I think one of the unique things about crypto and the communities that are here is that, and I think this is overlooked sometimes, there are so many community members that not only financially, but also altruistically care about the projects that they're in. And they're just waiting to be told, hey, how can I help, right? Like, what can I do to support this project, to push something? What are the things you want me talking about? What are the things you don't want me talking about? And I think more than anything, questing systems, they can be a good means of discovery, but I often find that they're a better means of retention. They help engage your power users. They help engage the users that really care about the project and really want to dig deeper. And I think personally, what we've found the most effective with questing is not only give them what they care about, but figure out what you care about, right? And guide them through that questing system. Make the biggest rewards associated with the most valuable assets or actions, because that's the type of signposting that I think helps an engaged community do that. And you look at any of the huge communities that have done very well in Web3, and I don't think it's really, a product of great marketing or great product. Usually it's a product of the virality of that community and the way that they've kind of come together around an idea. And so many of these communities were grassroots. You look at Apes or some of the other big communities, and that wasn't just an expert. I would say the exceptions probably Pudgy Penguin, who have an incredible marketing team and have done very well there. But most of these other big NFT communities, it's not necessarily great marketing. In fact, I'd say it's average marketing at best, but they've galvanized such strong communities around their IP, and they've learned how to mobilize them. There's, almost cult-like, ways of doing this. And I think questing systems make that a lot more palatable and a lot more mainstream, right? It's something that people can participate in together and, help support the things they care about. So yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see. I know there's a lot of different platforms doing questing, and everyone kind of has their angle. So it's kind of cool to see and experiment with different ones and put together basically a package of different things you can do, to encourage your community and to build together. Because for me, at least as a startup in the space, as a indie creator, it's so important to be able to build together and to have the tools that allow you to do that. And I think questing is just such an effective tool, at least for us, to be able to build with our community. So yeah. Lau, you want to jump into the next one? Unless
I just
unless you wanted to comment. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had some comments. I'm really happy that you see that the engagement is the key. Just to give you some metrics regarding the engagement, we have around 80% of engagement on the questing systems. So I think that when you post something online as a company who's creating something, a product, you don't find those kind of metrics in any other socials or any other types of acquisition or media. So that's a cool way to have good engagement. But it's also improved your acquisition and your retention. The acquisition is improved because you're kind of hacking the socials, letting your user base acting as ambassadors, and so they are tapping into the algorithm, improving everything that you do online by 10 times maybe, and give you more exposure. So that's a nice a nice thing. And also regarding the retention, since you're providing your users, your true fans, like exclusive assets, exclusive content, then they might stay longer on your product. They will not go to your competitors. They will try to have more interaction with you. So I think that's one thing that is important. You also mentioned, I could also mention one thing is that the quest system absolutely needs to be in your media plan. So when you're thinking about communication, marketing, speaking about anything related to your product, you need to add some quest system at the right time, at the right moment, to the right people on the right channels. So you need to be aware of that, because it's also a new channel of acquisition and a new way of retention. And you were mentioning the fact that people are looking to do some, as I call it, product market fit. I'm not the only one who's calling it that way, but I think that on our quest system, the cool feature is that the more engaged your player are on your game, the more voting power they will have. So the feedback that you get, there will be more specified to your product. So it will improve your product market fit. So I think that's one cool way we are the only one who have thought about it. And also, as a specified quest system for games, we are looking towards to have in-game integration. So the more your player will be engaged inside your game, the more voting power you will have, and it will also help you to improve like the mechanics that you're building. It will be able to give you feedbacks on your on the art. You will be able to create some assets for you. And so that's also a cool way to do some UGC, like to do some user-generated content for you, and reduce costs, improve product market fit and engagement. So I wanted to add this to the conversation.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think, like you were touching on, there's just so many ways you can use questing systems, and they do take a lot of different forms as well. So yeah, you guys are building a great product. We had the ability to kind of talk to the team and see where it's going. I'm definitely excited to see all the features that are going to be rolled out in the near future, and everything that you guys are working on, and kind of integrate further as we go. So definitely enjoy it. All right, let's go to the next question now.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gamerly. Okay, so Spreado. In a space built on relationships, how do you see AI-powered outreach changing the way Web3 teams connect with other leaders in the industry and build meaningful relationships?
Hi, again. Yeah, I don't really have like a very deep answer to that question, to be honest. I can see everybody's having very detailed thoughts. But yeah, one trend that we see for sure is the main thing I could share, is that outreach and the business development in general turns into more of like high frequency trading, you know, with AI and automation. So a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, before we launched Spreado, I used to work in Web3 sales myself, and we're doing a lot of Telegram outreach, and it used to be purely about effort. So it used to be about just like who has, more business developers and goes to more conferences and send more messages, and so on. So it used to be purely about volume. Nowadays, it's about speed and precision. So it's like, can you send a message to a potential, client or partner before your competitor do, and jump on a call with them and get a deal done or something like this, or get an integration done, or maybe sell them your services. So it became more about that, and AI really helps with precision because it allows us to categorize the contacts, it allows us to, without any manual effort whatsoever, right, to know whether we're talking to a decision maker inside the company or not, or who the decision maker inside the company is. We don't need to like go through several people inside the company to get the contact of the right person. We can just find it, and so on and so forth. So this is how the AI and the automation generally affects, in my opinion, this game. So yeah, it becomes more about speed and precision. Hopefully hopefully it leads to less spamming actually, because some people are concerned about spamming on Telegram. So yeah, I guess you can get same results doing less work. It kind of applies to all of the industries that are touched by AI. Yeah, if you guys can ask any follow-up questions about that or want to debate some of those ideas, I'd really appreciate that because this is my main point here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. I think there's kind of this duality where spam is going to happen. It's better when it's targeted. I think we do need stricter regulations, and I think eventually we will have with the advent of AI and information privacy, better control over who can and can't contact you and like what rules are in place for that sort of thing. I think there's lots of countries where you have to actively opt in before someone does outreach for marketing related purposes. So I think the regulations have started to cover it, but I don't think the regulators have caught up to how efficient AI is becoming at, like you said, data mining and then tailoring messages to the right people. I think generally, as a decision maker in a company who gets a lot of these, it's very rare that I enjoy, receiving those messages. But I think there are times where, something pops up and, I go back and I say, you know what, I think I've gotten a couple of these messages in the past. Let me see who took the time to reach out. And then, sometimes I look at those messages and they put the wrong name or the wrong product or whatever it is. And it's really quick to say, all right, you know what, that's not one that I'm going to go with because they're not using a very good AI, and it's funny. I think we're in a world where, there's a little bit of hesitance about using AI, and sometimes when I see that, I'm like, well, this company is being efficient, right? They're not spending tons of money on outreach, which hopefully means they won't charge me a bunch of money on things that I know can be automated, right? So I guess I think as a world we're going to evolve. I don't think it's going to be as easy to just ping a list of leads in the future, but I also think that we're going to have more meaningful interactions. Frankly, I think at some point we're going to have AI agents talking to AI agents and doing all the filtering for us, and they'll know our needs and they'll kind of know what we're looking for and be able to seek it out. And I don't know that cold calling will necessarily be the future, but I think that it's really interesting. I guess my question was kind of related to what you answered at the end, and kind of what I've been thinking about is just how do you toe the line between kind of sending out a ton of spam and just the type of cold like what sorts of things, let's put it that better, maybe you can give some examples of the types of things that make this outreach using AI more direct, more pointed, and less spammy, because I'd imagine that the AI is also doing things to tailor the message to the type of potential partner that you'd be reaching out to, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So on a very basic level, AI can be is used, for example, in our platform to personalize the message with all kinds of information. It could be the real first name of a person that is deduced from their username or their full name on Telegram using AI. It could be their company name, token information. It could be, I know, specific blockchains that their token is traded on. So you can get all kinds of information from using AI tools and using AI agents to write personalized messages. And on a more advanced level, you can have also AI systems that, for example, send the message the second the person gets online or logs into their account, right? That's why I'm talking about that. Eventually, it's all going to be about speed and attention, right? Because if you receive 10 messages like this per day, you're probably more likely to react to the one that you receive the moment you look at your phone rather than, when you get another 20 notifications. So there are more basic things that are already implemented inside our platform and are already, I'm pretty sure more and more people start using them or try to use them at this point. And there are more advanced things that we're working on, and there will definitely be here in a few months' time. Going back to your point about basically users having to give their permission and stuff. Yeah, it's definitely true. Definitely true. And I like what Telegram is doing there because now you can already ask people to pay to send you the message in Telegram. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a feature they introduced recently where basically you need to spend Telegram stars to message someone. And the reason I like it is after they made this feature, not so many people in Web3 actually used it. I haven't noticed a bunch of people, all of a sudden asking other people to pay to message them, which means that most people are actually inclined overall to receive messages about partnerships and so on and so forth. And of course, the second important implication of this is, those who do set it are, and those people who do report all of these messages and so on, and don't like receiving them and complain about them, can stop receiving them. So whether on the application level or on the regulation level, everything is definitely becoming more efficient. So both from the platform side and from the automation and the tool set side. So yeah, but I guess in an ideal future, only people who are actually interested in receiving external messages will receive them, and only teams with the best AI and with the most relevant messages and automations will be able to grab attention there, if it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very informative. That's I always like to hear about these things because I haven't even thought of half of
Yeah,
them yet.
I've noticed it today or the yesterday, but I believe LinkedIn implemented paid messages much much time ago, a long time ago. So if you want to text someone who is too cool, you have to buy premium account, and only after that you can message them. So Telegram implemented it after LinkedIn. I'm not sure is it great or not, because you can make a border between you and the spammers, but when you if you don't want to receive a message from someone, you just can block your DM, and that's all.
Yeah, definitely. I think this space is going to evolve. I've seen probably a tenfold increase in cold emails in the last year to my email account. And I know, I mean, every regulator and every head of every company is probably getting the same thing. So it's very front of mind, I think, for a lot of people. And it's just these wheels move very slowly. So whether it's the platforms or the procedures, I'm sure there's going to be compliance type stuff you'll have to do. But that takes a while to happen, and it depends on the jurisdiction. So it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see how that develops. I hope it develops into a more sustainable model than it is right now, but we'll see. All right, I know we're short on time, so let's jump back. Lau, I think we have one more question, right?
Yes, we do. We have one last question for Spencer. So, Spencer, why are you excited about collecting in the digital space?
Yeah, I will try to keep it brief just because I know we are already over time. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that I am excited about. I think one of the things we touched on earlier in my intro was kind of the beginning of some of these more hybrid like RWA platforms, which allow people to actually digitize their physical collectibles into NFTs, and the NFTs essentially serve as the COA or certificate of authenticity, representing an actual physical asset that is secured in a Brinks vault that's temperature secured and everything's fully insured. So I mean, I think this provides a lot of benefits to collectors. And I think, the kind of the beginning and hopefully the popularity of these platforms will be the thing that will bridge the gap and will get some of these physical collectors to have that light bulb moment and kind of realize the significance of NFTs and kind of where that whole space is going. And so I think, this is kind of the thing that hopefully will make it click for them. But yeah, in general, excited for those types of platforms and also just continued kind of like the community that's built around these things. I was just in NFC Lisbon and, for example, VV Digital Collectibles is one of the big platforms that my content channel covers a lot of stuff around. But they release a lot of these big collectibles with DC, Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, a lot of these big brands. And there was probably 30, 40 people that I know and people that I've interacted with online or people that I've met at previous shows and conventions that were all met up in Lisbon, and people from all over the world, different, I think represented from like 3 or 4 different continents. Yeah, I mean, so I think the community aspect is pretty amazing because I mean, I think a lot of people who are still collecting that space haven't necessarily made a ton of money, or if they did make some money, it was back in the last bull run, and there hasn't really been much a huge financial incentive since then. So it's really cool to see. I think a lot of the people who are still around to this day are here for the community and here for really the joy and kind of the shared connection around collecting. They're able to experience with other people. So I think it kind of goes beyond just the financial aspect of it, which I think is really cool. And hope to see more of that going forward. But yeah, I will stop there just in the interest of time.
Well, thank you, Spencer, and I couldn't agree more. Both on kind of moving the physical collectible space forward through both the digital proof of authenticities and just the liquidity that NFTs provide for physical asset creators, and then eventually moving towards a digital collectible space that is in everybody's hands, and we're all continuing to collect digitally. So thank you all. We're going to wrap up the spaces there. I know that we have a giveaway that we want to do before. And actually, let me pause real quick. I do see Life to App. Your hand is up. So if you have a quick thought you want to give, feel free.
Yeah, thanks. I've got a question to Spencer. Maybe I'm old-fashioned collector, but if I want to buy, if I want to own action figure, retro action figure, I'd rather buy it on eBay because when I receive it, I will place it on my shelf and I'm the real owner. How can we make these make with NFT?
Yeah,
So
so I guess a couple different things there. So, I think, first of all, it's really amazing to be able to, buy a physical collectible and be able to display it. But a lot of times you want to purchase things and don't necessarily have the space for it in your physical space. You're kind of just restricted by, how much space you actually have in your apartment or your house to actually display that thing. But it's still something that you might want to own. And so, what some of these platforms offer as an alternative, instead of having to store this in a storage locker or some other storage shed or somewhere else, you can actually send your collectible into Fanable or Courtyard, and what you're doing is you're actually sending it into a Brinks vault. So Brinks is one of the biggest security and kind of vaulting companies in the world. They do armored trucks, but then they also do kind of these big kind of bank vaults essentially. And your collectible will be stored in this, very secured, Brinks vault. You basically have everything fully insured. So if anything happens to it, you basically have that insurance on it, and that it's, temperature controlled. It's in a safe place where it's not going to get damaged. And basically what happens is when you send it in, these platforms like Fanable or Courtyard will, mint an NFT representing that physical item. And so you get to see that item on their platform. It's, very, very like high res, images. They actually, have like, very high quality scanners for scanning in the comics and other types of collectibles. So it's still something you're able to enjoy, on the app, and still able to see the collectible and know that you own it. And you're able to basically pull it down, anytime you want to. So at any time you can redeem that collectible, and go ahead and, they'll burn the NFT, and then they'll send the physical item back to you, wherever you live. And so that's a process that they do. And, basically it's built into their business model that they're able to do that for free for you, which is very cool. And then I think kind of what leans into some of the things that you guys are building. I'm very excited about augmented reality and what that's going to do for the whole digital collecting experience, because, let's say that you have a blank wall in your house or something like that. You could take your digital collectibles that are on a platform like Fanable or Courtyard and throw them up on your wall, and you can switch those out super easily. And anybody who else has, AR glasses that are kind of set up to whatever your home system is, they're able to enjoy those collectibles with you in a virtual environment or an augmented reality environment. And just it gives you a lot of flexibility. But obviously the technology isn't fully there when it comes to that. But I think, that will very much, increase the experience around that, as well as, virtual reality and metaverses, and having people to be able to create their own showrooms, and which is something that's already being done on apps like Vivi, where, in the Vivi verse, you're able to go ahead and create a whole, customized showroom where you can show off your digital collectibles in that space. So yeah, kind of what this does is allows a little bit of a hybridization of the two. So I hope that, that answers the question.
Yeah, thanks so much. I got it.
And I see Podillas, you have your Podillas, you have your head up or your hand up as well. Did you want to say something?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? GM everybody.
Yes, we can.
Okay, that is great. Thanks for inviting us to this space, and thank you for bringing up this amazing project, to learn more about each other. And I have a question for comics and crypto and Grammarly. So, comics and crypto, I want to ask you, like, in recent times or like in the future, can you create comics for Live to app, for our project? And so, like, do you create comics for that project or something like that? And I know that you can list them as NFTs on your platform and stuff like that. So is that possible?
So if I'm understanding the question correctly, so we are, at Comics and Crypto, we're content creators. So, we're not necessarily comic book artists. And so we don't produce the books, but we are connected to a lot of different people in the space who are able to do that. So if you want to send us a message, then, we'd be happy to connect you with the right people to, basically help you facilitate that.
Okay, that's amazing. I think these comics are vital for community engagement. Okay, I'm going to send you a message and see how it can work out. And also game early, and I would love you I think part of the reasons why these spaces are being held is for like projects to introduce themselves and see how they can connect with each other and build reasonable and sustainable partnerships. So Gamer Idea, I'm thinking of how a partnership can work between us, the project. I think I've gone to your website and I think you are building something great also. So I'm also going to send you a message also, and so let's see how it all work out.
Sounds amazing, and you're absolutely
Okay,
right.
great. Thanks.
Yeah.
No, great to have everyone connecting, and I think we're already connected at Satoshiverse to all of you. So, looking forward to continuing the conversation. With that, I guess we still have a winner to announce. I don't think we've done that yet. So, Lau, why don't you announce the winner, and then we'll start wrapping things up.
Yes, thank you so much everyone for joining us today. So our lucky winner is Doc Good Luck. Good luck because you're lucky. At Doc Good Luck Shan. So everything that you have to do is that you have to go to game.allegiance229.com/login. If you don't have already a Allegiance 229 account, you have to create an account and then send us a DM with your username. And then we will deposit the Satoshi crystals to your account.
Amazing. Well, good luck to the lucky duck who just won those crystals. Yep. And next week, next week we are going to be doing this again with a whole new panel. It is going to be at a different day, same time. So we're going to be doing this on Wednesday instead of Tuesday, and it will be at the same time. So we will send out lots of reminders and posts and all that stuff. So don't worry about writing it down. But next Wednesday we'll be doing this again. So I guess with that, thank you so much to the guests who took time out of their busy days to be with us. Thank you all for staying the 15 minutes over. It was an awesome discussion, and you never know what you're going to get, but we always seem to have great discussions on here, always very varied. So a lot of cool things for me to now go and do after this and check things out. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, thank you so much to our Spaces host or our guests and everyone who joined us live. The one thing I would say, if you have not already followed all the guests, please do check out what they are building. Everyone's doing some cool stuff here. Definitely lots of different opportunities to engage in the space in different ways. If you haven't already learned about Satoshiverse and what we are building with Legions 2029, now is a great time. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up. We just announced a bunch of cool stuff. Check out the pinned tweet on our page on Satoshiverse Twitter account, and everything is free to play right now. So all you need is a computer that can play video games, and you'll be good to go. We're happy to onboard you in the Discord if you need help. But otherwise, looking forward to seeing some new members in the community and getting you started with Legions 2029. Thank you again so much to the speakers, and we'll wait a slight amount of time, and then we will wrap things up now.
Thanks for having us. Thank you, guests and speakers. Thank you, host. It was nice to meet you.
Great to meet you as well.